Aloha, friends and neighbors. We're going to cover from November 9th to November 18th. And as far as I'm concerned, you're officially out of any hurricane season. And I just realized I got to be careful here. I've been caught before with high winds, and I label them hurricanes. So it isn't necessarily a hurricane that knocks your power lines down and tree limbs and stuff. You can have a high wind. Well, whatever it is, you've gone through the 2-week window. What's also coming up here is Venus is trining Mars. It'll get very social and neat and sexy. And there's a new moon on the 7th of November that trined Neptune. So that took you out of the Pluto trips, all the panickiness and all the guns and the terror and all of that stuff. Yeah. The kind of sad news is, or the tricky stuff, is that Mercury, stationary retrograde, Mercury going retrograde for about 3 weeks. In this case, it's squaring Neptune, which is already retrograde. And you're going to see this on Fridays. Probably Friday the 9th, you'll see some of this. And you'll lose things. And you'll put things over there and forget where they are. There's forgetfulness. There's lost pieces of communication. There's transportation errors. Mercury is the god of communication and transportation. And squaring Neptune, it's like we all got a little drunk and forgot where we left our keys. And yes, especially on Fridays. So probably the strongest one will be on the 16th when the moon goes by Neptune. I've drawn you up a chart. Now this is a generic chart, it's not your chart. This applies to everybody. If you're in a large group someplace, you'll see them behaving pretty much like this. But individual behavior may be a little different. Here's the sun. It's going through the last part of Scorpio. Jupiter's already shifted into Sagittarius. And so this is the last 10 days, 2 weeks, while there'll be emphasis on Scorpio and a lot of truths coming out. Here's Mercury. He's not so happy. He's got that doggone square to Neptune. He's all confused. He delivered it to the wrong place or at the wrong time. And gee, I didn't get my Sunday paper this morning either. And here's Mars. And Mars is moving up to square Jupiter towards the end of next week. So there's an overabundance of aggression and anger and physical energy and testosterone coming up, increasing as you go through your next coming week. And a strange thing here is the planet Uranus, which is opposing Venus and interrupting peace, quiet, love, calm, and doing a lot more. I've discovered some interesting things I'm going to tell you about a little bit. But first, let's go through it day by day. We're going to run the moon around the edge, and as it makes angles to these various planets, these actors on the stage, it generates the mood of the times. If, let's see, Thursday morning, the moon's on Jupiter, lots of truth and wisdom on the 8th. And here on the 7th, there was that nice new moon. And here's some aggression, too, on, see, this is the 8th. So that's the 7th, the evening of the 7th, the moon squares Mars. But you're probably watching the Thursday show, and you had a pretty good morning, and the moon's in Sagittarius, and it continues through Friday. Now on Friday, the 9th, here's a square to Neptune. It happens early in the morning, and the moon's going by Mercury, and Mercury's stopping. He's going to retrograde, on the 17th. So he's real big right now. But with the square to Neptune, he thought you said right and you meant left. So here's your first day of confusion. And at least he's not retrograde yet. You won't have to do a lot of things twice. But it's a confusing day in the middle of Sagittarius. On Saturday, the moon's still in Sagittarius, and it changes a lot. You can see the little blue markers I have. When you see a red marker, that's a square or an opposition, and means tension and blockage and difficulties. The blues are sextiles and trines when things just happen. Like here on Saturday between breakfast and lunch, here's a nice sextile to Venus. And there's a lot of peace and quiet and love, even some sex around. And in the afternoon, here the moon trines Uranus. And so it kind of diffuses that Uranus-Venus opposition, the coitus interruptus. And here's also a sextile to Mars. So Saturday, especially the afternoon and evening, promises to be very social, very sexy, very romantic, and it continues right through until, well, the moon's going to go into Capricorn. And here's old Saturn. Yeah. So that hits, let's see, each one of these little lines is 2 hours, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. See, this is about breakfast time. The moon's going to go by Saturn. Will sober you up and remind you of all those bills you got to pay. Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. It's terrible for me right now. Moon in Capricorn. Get yourself organized on the 11th, Sunday. Start early. Make a plan. On Monday, the moon's still in Capricorn, and in the morning it hits Pluto. Things are decisive. There's discovery. New things come up. You get better control over everything in your life. And you're pretty happy about it in the middle of Monday because the moon sextiles the sun. No problems till you get to late Monday, late Capricorn. And here's the moon squaring Venus, squaring Uranus. There's that full moon that happened there. And the south node. So, wow, Monday night, Tuesday morning, we need help. And there's a lot of excessive lunacy, we'll call it, around. Okay, now, there is a sextile to Jupiter, but you may just be overdoing it. This is a difficult time, Monday night through the first half of Tuesday, the 13th of November. On Wednesday, the moon's still in Aquarius, and we got a nice sextile to Mercury. And get some stuff done. Do your mailing, do your writing, do your transport before it goes retrograde on the 17th. You still got a few days. So it's a good time to do Mercury work on Wednesday. Delivery work, carrying things around, writing, teaching, talking, moving. On Wednesday, the 14th. Thursday, the 15th, the moon's still in Aquarius to get to just before dinner. It shifts into Pisces. And while it's in Aquarius, there's a nice trine to Venus. There's some love, peace and quiet. Well, it starts though with a square to the sun. So you're not getting much done here before lunch and around the middle of the day. The moon squaring the sun. It's hard to get organized. But Venus is there later. Some sweets show up. Go for the pleasure. Yeah. There's a nice conjunction to Mars. A lot of energy here. Romeo is up and chasing Venus around. It's very social, very sexy. And there's this nice sextile to Uranus that happens late Thursday night when everybody gets together. And there's a lot of universal agreement Thursday night. Interesting time. On Friday, the moon's still in Pisces. Starts with a nice sextile to Saturn. You're very well organized Friday morning on the 16th. And your plans are going forward. It feels pretty good. Now look out, because here Friday night, around 9, 10 o'clock, the moon's going by Neptune. And it's squaring Mercury, and you lost the paperwork or the keys, or you know there's communication problems, and yeah, Mercury's going retrograde, so you got to keep an eye on him. The other thing that happens is Well, I won't get into it. But Mars is squaring the Sun on the 17th, tomorrow. So there's a lot of excess anger and a lot of excess energy misplaced, not getting the job done. So if Mars would just, you guys stick to the pleasures and the fun and Juliet, and not try to butt heads with the boss, you'll be okay. Yeah, till Friday. Saturday, the moon's still in Pisces, and there's that early morning, the square to Mercury. So it's really late Friday night, early morning Saturday, the confusion, the delusion. I said right, you heard left. Losing things. Yeah. And with Neptune, when the moon goes by Neptune Friday night, people are going to get drunk and they're going to lose their keys. So, and even if you try to get around it and say, I'm going to put my keys in a special place, then you'll forget the special place. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with leaving the keys right in the car, right in the ignition. I once had an old, beautiful Toyota truck we used for dirt biking when my boys were younger. And we got tired of hunting down the keys. So I just broke off the key in the ignition. Then I put two buttons underneath the dashboard. One turned on the electricity, the other was the starter, and that's how you got the thing running. Never needed a key anymore for that truck. Didn't have to worry about losing it. So Saturday morning, you watch your words, and there'll be confusion and delusion. You'll get some control here just before lunch with a nice sextile to Pluto. And by the time you get to dinner and after dinner, there's a trine to the Sun. And you're back on the rails again, and your plan is starting to form up. And you're feeling pretty good about it. Because here's Jupiter, really late. Well, it's Sunday morning. Aha, I see the truth. I see it clearly Sunday morning. So I'm doing good. I'm on track. Yeah. Well, you won't get slowed down until you get to Sunday night. After dinner, there's the moon squaring Saturn. Got to slow down. Just going to have to.